everybody, welcome to JK Next Garage. This is part 2 of the body cart for a first generation Camaro or Firebird. Today we're going to go over the risers that I made for the subframe under the passenger and driver's side seat, and the risers for the back frame rail at its highest point where the rear axle is. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so here we go. Today's video is going to be on making this riser right here that goes for the subframe at the underneath the seat there, and then also this riser right here that goes on the frame rail. So this is obviously this is the second time I've had this car on the body cart, because the first time we had it on there was so we could get this put on there, because this frame rail is at an angle. So I clamped that piece on there and then welded it to the cart. And with this front one up here, because I got a bolt in it, I wanted to have it exactly where it's coming up through that cage nut in there. So that's why I had whoops, sorry about the finger there, but yeah, that's why we had to put it on there 2 times, which was not that big a deal. If you check out our video of my son and I putting it on there, that's the same way that we put it on there the first time. So yeah, it's good. I talk about modifying this cart. We did modify this cart. If you check out Mr. Fireman 164, he has a body cart like this for his Camaro, but we modified it because those risers right there, he gave us a great idea about putting those in. And then this one here too was just for an extra brace to help line up our new frame rails that we're going to be putting in. So we've got 3 points on the frame rails. So another good body cart one is Paradise Bay Customs. He's got a floor pan. He's replacing, his body cart is actually removable, so he can build his floor pan and slide it right in underneath. Awesome video. Both those guys got good YouTube channels with other information too that's really helpful, so check them out. That's Mr. Fireman 164 and Paradise Bay Customs, so check it out. So let's get on to what I used to make those risers and how I put them in, and we'll go from there. Okay, let's start with the under the seat riser that we're going to do. Here's what we're going to use. I cut a piece of tube steel, and I cut a piece of 1/4 inch flat stock and drilled a 5/8 hole in it, and then I have a 5/8 bolt there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that piece of 1/4 inch stock and that bolt, and I'm going to bolt it up right there. That's where the subframe bolts through. Goes into that captured nut. I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a second. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, so there's a little hump right here, so this is pretty flat on this other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snug it, but I'm going to leave it where I can still move it around up top, because what I want to do is I want to get that in the center of the hole up there. Sorry about the hand in there, but I want to get it centered on the captured nut inside there. You need to get in the center of that captured nut so you have a little bit of play back and forth on both sides. So it looks pretty good right there. I can reach underneath here and move it a little bit, so then snug it back up. So I know it looks like it's not centered at all, but I'm actually just moving it a little bit here and there. So like I said, it's not centered on this hole, but I want it centered on the captured nut that I'm screwing that into. Alright, so that bolt is coming up through the center of that captured nut, which gives me a little bit of play, so when I put the one in on the passenger side, we have a little bit of play back and forth if needed. So let's move on to down below. Okay, so I got my riser in there. It's just sitting in there right now. I'll get everything leveled up and I'll get it welded up, and then I'll do the other side. This isn't so much for support for the floor pan. It's more for the new floor pan's placement of those front, actually they're the back part of the subframe mounting bolts underneath the seats. So it's just to verify my measurements and make sure I get the new floor pan in the right spot. Let's go back and do the ones on the frame rail now. Okay, here's what we're going to use on the back riser. Going to go from the body cart up to the frame rail, one of the highest points. I got a black mark there. Hopefully at center. If not, we're going to level everything up anyways. So what I got here is I've got a piece of angle that I'm going to clamp onto the frame rail, and I've got a spacer in here. I was kicking around whether or not to clamp it straight on there or put a spacer in there so I have a little bit of play when I put my new frame rails on. I think I'm going to go with the spacer just because you never know. I don't want to be stuck cutting that angle off if my frame rails don't fit onto the new floor pan. So let me know what you think. So I'll put this up there, I'll get it clamped up, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. That's the riser in the back on the back frame rail. I got a level on there. I was just getting it close. I'll level it all up when I go to weld it. But so there's my piece of angle iron. It's clamped onto the frame rail. You can see my little spacer in there, and it's the frame rail sitting on that angle. So I'm just gonna weld that up. That little spacer's I'm gonna leave in there for right now. I'll clamp up the new frame rail with the spacer in there and see how it lines up. I may need a little extra room, so that's why I have that little washer in there, spacer, so I can take that out and adjust if need be. So if you think that's a good idea, hit me up in the comments, or if you think it's a bad idea, whatever. So all right, I'm gonna get these all leveled up and welded up, and we'll see what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, we'll start with the back here. Got the riser in there. Just have it tacked in for right now. I did put the spacer in, and it worked out pretty good. There's a gap there. I took the spacer out for right now. There's a gap there. It's all leveled up. The reason I didn't do this before I put the body on the cart was because the frame rail there is at an angle, and I'll try showing that. Try getting this camera up a little bit closer at the right angle, and I don't know if you can see, but it is at an angle there. I don't know what the angle is. I don't know, 10, 20, 30 degrees, 40, I don't know. So that's why it was easier for me to clamp that angle piece up there, then put the riser up and then tack it to it. So got to do the other side yet, so you probably don't need to see that. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then the front one, got the front one up. It's pretty good. Just got it tacked in. That was kind of a pain in the butt because there's not a lot of room underneath there, but it's in there. It's good. And my bolt comes right up straight through the cage nut and is positioned in the center of that cage nut. So now I'm going to have some room back and forth when I go to put the new floor pan in. And now I will be able to have the new frame rails be able to go in and hopefully match up with where the existing ones did. So this cart's coming along, just about done. There you have it. Last of the risers put on the body cart, and I think the next video is going to be on the tools we use to get this car onto the body cart. As you can see, we don't have a lift in our garage here. Would be nice to have one, but coming up with a game plan as to how to lift this car up high enough to get the body cart underneath. It's kind of a challenge since we've never done this before. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.